Let us join together in prayer. As we gather this day, may our hearts be open to an awareness of so much that we've been given. May we be grateful for those who have gone before us and all they've done to contribute to our being able to live the lives that we do today. And may we be ever grateful for the many ways the earth itself supports us. And may we know gratitude for being equipped and enabled with divine love implanted within us to create flourishing communities of peace. Amen. I have a very well-intentioned worship resource, and the aim is including children in worship and being child-friendly in church. It's a theologically mainline resource with the laudable aim of really being a family for all ages at church. The book recommends that around the Thanksgiving season, the church steer clear of hymns that refer to harvest imagery, because young people today have little to no familiarity with the agriculture industry. While it was once taught in school as a matter of course, this is no longer the case. So this basically solid worship resource with things to color and calls to worship advises using music at Thanksgiving that mentions thanks and gratitude, but without all those references to fields and sheaves and seeds and grain. Well, just for some context, I was not raised in an agricultural environment. My parents were both born and raised in the Bronx. They were city people. And while our family lived in a house with a yard, my parents were at their limit with the mowing of the lawn. I'm much more oriented toward plants and nature than my parents ever were. And while our children were still at home, I began growing vegetables in a plot at the Azalea Community Gardens near our home. I'd never grown food before, but I wanted my children to see where food came from. Now, one of our sons, Malcolm, actually works on a farm. So, when I read about this abandoning agricultural imagery at church at Thanksgiving, I thought, absolutely not. If young people don't know where their food comes from, then the church needs to do some remediation. So we at Lakewood, seeking to be child-friendly, have continued to sing songs and hymns about harvest and food and the gifts of the earth that sustain us. Why is this important? To me, knowing where our food comes from connects us not only to the earth, but to one another. It reinforces our awareness of our need for one another. It takes lots and lots of people and transportation and equipment and energy and work and money to put that food on our tables. There are so many resources that go into providing our food, and so many people. We are all connected through our food. Food is really more valuable than gold. And it's tragic that food waste is one of the big environmental challenges that we're facing. Awareness of the many facets of the food production sector of our lives gives us an appreciation for our interdependency with other people, as well as our dependency on the earth. Without the earth and the natural systems that promote life, we wouldn't be starving. We would be dead. It's important for us to know how dependent we are upon the earth and upon one another. We are part of a vast, throbbing community of life, and the food we eat manifests that. Interestingly, while our schools may no longer teach the basics of food production and agriculture, they determinedly hang on to taking the summers off, a system directly linked to agriculture. Taking the summer off from school was designed to accommodate young people who were needed to work on the farm. This system persists, even though it's been proven to lower educational outcomes. Students lose much knowledge over the summer break, and the time has to be spent then recouping that material. Instead, how about year-round schools with several significant breaks along the way, and in the extra time not needed to review, they could bring back discussion of where the food comes from. To know where our food comes from helps us foster an attitude of appreciation and reverence. This can be taught at school without any religious reference or connotation, and it's crucial for our life orientation as people of faith. We are dependent upon the earth, which for us as Christians is seen as the self-disclosure and the self-expression of the divine, the sacred, spirit, God, however you imagine God. As people of faith, our whole worldview is based on gift and blessing. We've been given the gift of life. We're given this gorgeous, mysterious, fecund planet as our home. We've been given everything we need to thrive in a web of life that supports and sustains us. Note, we cannot live without nature, but nature, the planet, can survive and thrive without us. We are completely dependent. To recognize the roots of the food we eat is to affirm our place in the whole. It's to recognize our dependency upon earth and one another. This life orientation undermines some of the myths messaged in our culture. I can take care of myself. Good luck with that. How about the self-made man? Really? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Good luck. I am master of my fate. All these images and messages about power and independence that put the focus on the individual foment individualism, but not interdependence, or humility, or community. This leads to the distortion of our place in the natural order, in the web of life, in the domain of the cosmos. And things go awry, as we see in so many ways. Some years ago, at a past General Synod of the United Church of Christ, a national church gathering held every 2 years, I asked someone at the Christian education display, what is the one thing we should be teaching children in church? Without hesitation, the response was, how to grow their own food. At first I thought, that's a bit apocalyptic. Maybe this person just finished reading something like, Station 11, a good post-apocalyptic dystopian novel. As I thought about it more, I saw the wisdom in this advice about Christian education. It might not just be about surviving the apocalypse. It might be about learning a life orientation that fosters gospel values, the way of Jesus, sharing and caring for each other, and for the earth. It might be about cultivating that innate sense that we need each other and that we've been given the earth to sustain us. We're meant to be in community. We're not genetically or culturally programmed to be loners, despite the American obsession with individual freedom and independence instead of interdependence. This expert Christian educator was basically recommending what I had already come to as a parent when I started my vegetable garden. Knowing where our food comes from helps us be aware and grateful for forces that we do not control but that provide for us, from nature to nurture and shipping to picking. It puts us in right relationship with divine love, the life force of the cosmos, with the planet, with the web of life, and with each other. We learn we're interdependent and we benefit from the natural world and the labor of others. And we are needed to contribute to the common good. There's a sense of mutual dependence as well as blessing from beyond ourselves that imbues the providing of food for our tables and models a gospel orientation toward life. How beautiful that our Thanksgiving holiday centers on food, on eating, on community, the turkey, stuffing, gravy, green bean casserole, macaroni and cheese, rolls, pumpkin pies, or is it pecan? A feast. This meal of remembrance and gratitude is a needed antidote to the arrogance, egotism, and hubris that dominate our society, especially in corporations, sports, entertainment, and tragically, in politics. The beautiful verses from Deuteronomy get to the heart of the matter. When you have eaten your fill, and have built fine houses and live in them, and when your herds and flocks have multiplied, and your silver and gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then do not exalt yourself, forgetting the Lord your God. Do not say to yourself, my power and the might of my own hand got me this wealth. Remember the Lord your God, for it is God who gives you power to get wealth. Remember. Remember where our food comes from. Remember that we do not feed ourselves. Remember the source, spirit, the love force, the God that blesses us with each and every morsel we ingest. And you will be filled. Joy will abound. There's a wonderful children's grace that celebrates our food and our connection to the reality of God. You may know it. Back of the bread is the flour, back of the flour is the mill, back of the mill is the wind and the rain and the Father's will. Well, instead of abandoning agricultural terminology, let's abandon patriarchal terminology, masculine references to God that foster oppression, injustice, and empire. Back of the bread is the flour, and back of the flour is the mill, and back of the mill is the wind and the rain, and creation's will. That's where we should be changing things, not abandoning our awareness of agriculture. Happy Thanksgiving. And now we'll sing one of those hymns. We plow the fields and scatter. Look at the insert on your bulletin.